Hi, and welcome to lesson 2 of my 6-week ukulele program for beginners. So we're going to start this lesson off with some revision and go over a couple of things that we went through last week in lesson 1. So we're going to kick it off with making sure we're in tune. So the string closest to my chin is string number 4. That should be tuned to the pitch G. And our tuner indicates whether it's in tune or not by moving to the center of the screen. So that's good. The next one is string 3 or C. The one below that is E or string number 2. And the one closest to the floor is string number 1. A. Very handy, these tuners. Okay, next up is our frets. We're going to count our frets, and these frets are the wire parts here. Now, this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on till they run out. When we place our finger on the fret, we don't actually place it on the metal part here, we place it behind the fret on the fretboard, and when we place our fingers down we use our fingertips. And also when we place our fingers down we make sure that we have our thumb behind the neck supporting our fingers, and our thumb is needed for us to be able to press our finger down on the string to help it make a nice clean clear sound. Our fingers also are numbered. On our chord hand we have our thumb, index finger number 1, middle finger number 2, ring finger number 3, and our pinky is number 4. So thumb 1, 2, 3, 4. Strings from the one closest to the floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our frets 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. That's how we communicate with each other, whether it's through speaking or through a chord diagram. So now we're going to move into our chords. So if you have a look at the diagram, we're going to play the chord C, and the diagram shows us as if our ukulele was facing upright like this. The vertical lines are our strings, the horizontal lines are our frets, and there's a black dot or dots on the diagram that are numbered. Well, the dots show us where we put our fingers, and the number on the dot shows us which finger. So to play our C chord, we are going to put our third finger on the first string of the third fret. 1, 2, 3. Our C chord. Now to play our A minor chord, we remove our third finger. As you can see, there's only one dot on the diagram, and that's on the 4th string close to our chin of the 2nd fret. So 1, 2, using our 2nd finger. Capital A with a little M, representing the chord A minor. Our next chord is F, so to play our F chord, we keep our A minor shape and we add our first finger to the 1st fret of the 2nd string. F. Next chord is G7, where we use 3 fingers. Now to do that from this chord F, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move our 2nd finger down to string 3 of the 2nd fret, and we're going to tilt our hand away from the neck to give us enough room to place our 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So I'll do that again, back to F. Now you watch my hand. It's going to turn back toward the neck. My 2nd finger is going to move up to the 4th string. We're going to do one strum on F. Now we're going to go to G7 and tilt our hand away. And when we do, our 2nd finger is almost in perfect position to place down on the 3rd string of the 2nd fret. And then we've got plenty of room to add our third finger on the first string of the second fret. Now, when you're beginning, some of these chord shapes aren't easy. So you need to have develop strength in your fingers to be able to help you with your chord shapes and your chord changes. And I've got a great exercise for us in this program that we'll cover. But for now, let us just play F, and we're going to practice our G7 chord. One strum on F. Move your finger down to the next string. And then tilt your hand away and play, or add your third finger to play G7. And we're going to repeat. We're going to go back to F and then G7. F, G7. And that's all we're going to do. And we're going to do one strum each time we do it. F and G7. And back again. While we're doing this, we're not only getting our fingers used to that shape, but we're getting our eyes used to seeing what the chord shape looks like, which is important. That's a tool I use. I like using my eyes to help me remember what the shape is. So we've got F and G7. And as you can see, my strumming is very light, and I'm just doing a downstroke with my thumb. Now we're going to go back to C. So when you're doing an exercise like that to help strengthen your chord changes and your chord sound and your chord shape, try and spend 1 to 2 minutes on one particular area. Now, you'll agree with me that even 1 minute doing this, backward and forward, is quite a long time. But that is one of the key elements to getting better at whatever area you need to work on to improve. Spending a couple of minutes at a time, 1 to 2 minutes at a time, and just slowly going through the exercise. And what you're doing there is you're really enforcing the muscle memory. So your fingers are starting to get used to that shape. Your ear is also playing a main factor, because you want to be able to hear a nice clean sound, and the more you do your chord changes and working on them, the more improved you're going to hear your sound. So your ear is going to tell you whether you need to make any slight adjustments. One of the pitfalls when you're playing your chords is the pads of your fingers are touching the other string. So here I'm going to play my F chord, and my second finger isn't clearing that string very well. So it doesn't matter how hard I try, if that finger is touching another string, I'm not going to get a clean sound at all, which is why we use our fingertips. There it is, nice and clean. And we're getting our fingers used to the posture of making nice, clean, clear chord shapes. Because as soon as I use my fingertips, my fingers are nice and high, right off the strings, which is exactly what we want to develop in our playing. So, you know, this is only lesson 2, but what I'm sharing with you are the tools for you to be able to practice, improve, and develop that great chord shape that will help you in your playing from this point on. And do this with all your chord shapes that you might have some issues with the sound, or the fact that you're not going from one chord to the other very quickly or cleanly. This is the way to fix it. Spend 1 or 2 minutes on a area and just go through the motions nice and slowly, and start listening to that sound. Hopefully you're getting that nice, clean, clear sound eventually, because that's the plan. Okay, now we're going to turn our attention to our strumming hand. And we're going to just do level 1 strumming using a metronome. The metronome is a great aid, and all I do is I use one on my phone, and one automatically comes up when you Google search metronome, and it looks like this, usually set at 100. But you'll see that there's a feature there, a slider feature, and a minus and a plus sign, and that helps you change the speed. So what is level 1 strumming? Level 1 strumming is strumming on the beat. So I'll give you an example. Now we're going to count to 4, and each bar is made up of 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and again 1, 2, 3, 4. Now every time we count, we strum. So we start with a downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And that's level 1 strumming. Now when we strum, you can either use your thumb and your first finger. So I'll go with the thumb and show you. Just to glide across the strings gently. 5 out of 10 is the pressure you want. 5 or 6. And making sure you're going across all the strings on both your down and upstroke. Or you can use your thumb and first finger. Thumb for your downstroke, first finger for your upstroke. Or you could use your index finger, which is what I use a lot. It's my preferred thing to use when I strum. Down, up. Nice and easy throughout the whole strings. You don't want to get your fingers or your pick, if you're using a pick, caught in the strings. It interrupts the flow of your strumming pattern. And last of all, you might be interested in using a pick. Pick has a really bright sound, all these ones do. You can get a pick or a plectrum made out of felt, and that's got a nice warm sound to it. But when I play the ukulele, I love the sound of just using my fingers. Okay, so we're going to set the metronome for 50 beats per minute, and we're going to play 2 bars of each chord. So 2 bars of C, 2 bars of A minor, 2 bars of F, and 2 bars of G7, and then back to C. Alright, let's see how we go. I'll do 2 counts of 4 to get us started. Now when you use a metronome, don't start straight away. Let it play for a few beats, and that way your body will start getting used to the tempo. Once you think you've got it, then you can start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get your C chord ready. 1, 2, 3. Downstroke. 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3. A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3. To an F. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3. G7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And back to C. 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And stop there. How'd you go? If you feel that might have been a little bit too fast for you, then you can slow your metronome down to the slowest speed, and I think it's 40 on the Google search metronome. But if you think you're okay with that, even though you might be missing a couple of things, then maybe you don't need to slow it down that much. Maybe you slow it down to 45. And the whole point is to get used to it. Everything is about developing your muscle memory and your control in your fingers and your hands. So when you're at a comfortable speed, then you just stay working on that. And like I said, do that for a couple of minutes each time you practice, and over the course of a few days, you'll definitely notice the improvement. Now we're going to have a look at level 2 strumming. It's very similar, only difference is we're going to add an extra beat in between the 4 beats. So the 4 beats are called quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to add notes in between these quarter notes, and those are eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and again 3 and 4, and so on. So what we do now is we strum to each of those beats, and the way we do that is we still do our down upstroke strumming pattern, but we do it every time we count. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and again, and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's level 2 strumming. So we're going to stay with 50 beats per minute. Start it. Get used to the rhythm, the tempo of 50 beats per minute, and then we can start counting once we're used to it. Now we're going to play C for 2 bars, A minor for 2 bars, F for 2 bars, and G7 for 2 bars, and then back to C again for 2 bars. Are you ready? Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and again 1 and 2 and 3. Here we go. 4 and downstroke, and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. A minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and F. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. G7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, and back to C. 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and stop there. It's really hard to count. 1 and 2 and then try and take a breath too. So if you manage to stay in close contact with that exercise, then you've done really well. So it's all about the strumming, the chord shapes, and the chord changes right now. If you wanted to just develop your strumming, you're so welcome to just play one chord. It might be C. It could be A minor or F or G7. Let's have a go at C. Playing along with the metronome. Getting used to the tempo. If you can tap in time with the metronome, that's fantastic. Or tap your foot. Sometimes I nod my head. Okay, ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and again 1 and 2 and 3. Here we go. Downstroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 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 your strumming hand is doing. And what you're trying to teach it is to have a nice, steady, controlled, flowing strum. There we have it. Level 2 strumming. Now we come to one of my favorite exercises, and I don't have many exercises for your fingers, but this one is a really big game changer. It strengthens the muscles in your fingers, and it helps with the coordination between both hands, and it helps you with your finger posture, your independence in your fingers, and your dexterity in your fingers. So here's the exercise. I'm just going to use my thumb on my strumming hand to play a downstroke. What we do, make sure we have our thumb placed at the back of our neck, is we place our first finger on the 4th string closest to our chin of the 1st fret. Then we play with our thumb a downstroke. And then we move our 2nd finger to the 2nd fret and do the same thing on the same string. And then our 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 4th string. And then our 4th finger, 4th fret, 4th string. Now once we get to our 4th finger, we move down to string number 3 and repeat the exercise. 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 4th finger. Next string, 1st finger, next string. And what we want to try to do is stay in time with our metronome. Even when we're changing from one string to the next, we try and stay in that rhythm pattern that the metronome is setting for us. Now, when we get to our 4th string, our 4th finger, we repeat the exercise backwards. So we reverse the exercise. We start with our 4th finger on the 4th fret of the same string. And then finger number 3, number 2, number 1, and then up to the next string, 4, 3, 2, 1, next string, 4, 3, 2, 1, next string. And then our exercise is complete, that cycle anyway. Now, you'll notice the notes, the sound of the notes are long. You've got to hold your finger down to maintain the length of that note. We don't want short notes. Long notes. For each note played in this exercise, we do it all the way down to string number 1 to our 4th finger, and then we start with our 4th finger on the 1st string and come all the way back to string number 4, finishing on our 1st finger. The game is to try and stay in time with our metronome. I like that. Getting used to the tempo. I'll just do 1 bar of 4 and then we'll start. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now backwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. String number 2. 4, 3, 2, 1. Next string. 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to stop there. The Holy Grail. Great for developing your fingers, strengthening your fingers, and getting that coordination between both hands, accuracy with your strumming hand, and looking for that quality sound using our fingertips. Nice, big ringing sound with each note you play. That's what we're trying to develop. And this exercise is fantastic for that. So when you practice, I would love for you to be able to do it starting with the first finger on the 4th string, 1st fret, going all the way down, coming back, and doing it at least twice every time you practice. The Holy Grail. It is one of the most important exercises that I can share with you, and it's definitely the exercise that helped me pull my playing from being an amateur to a professional player within months. So I owe a lot of my career as a professional musician to this one exercise, and now I'm sharing it with you, so hopefully you can get the same benefit. Anyway, I hope you got a lot out of it. My name is Vic Kenner, and I'm really happy to be able to share what I've learned over the years with you so that you can learn in only a few weeks. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, please share, and please subscribe. Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, keep smiling, keep playing, and I'll see you again soon.